part of the plan for Atmanirbhar India, or a self-reliant India, as outlined by the Prime Minister, is demography and demand. These are some of the key pillars, in fact. And both these factors are affected by unemployment. Now, unemployment and unemployment levels have been a big issue even before the lockdown, and this has, of course, become much worse. In the latest figures by CMIE, unemployment has come down from 27 to 24%, but when you go into the granular data, it reveals some very stark details. One big takeaway is how younger people are impacted even more than older people. Close to 3 crore people in their 20s have become unemployed just in the month of April. To give us a perspective on how deep this malaise is and is this temporary, far-reaching effects that we can see, I'm joined now by Mahesh Vyas of CMIE. Mr. Vyas, always a pleasure to speak with you, and good to talk to you again. Just let's begin by getting your take on where we stand in terms of unemployment.
Two things we found from the survey. By digging a little deeper into the data, beyond the headline data, which was that the unemployment rate has gone up to 27%, 24%. So it's somewhere in the mid-20s unemployment rate. But beyond that, when we started looking at the data in a little more detailed, deep dive kind of manner, we find two takeaways so far at least. One is that a large part of the vulnerable people are the ones who have lost their jobs. So 91 million, 122 million is the total loss of jobs in April. Of that, 91 million was of the people who are like street hawkers, small traders, daily wage earners. I think this is a large hit. 91 million is a very large number. And this hit has one interesting characteristic, that after the lockdown is lifted, many of them will find their jobs again. But what about those others, 17 million salaried employees who lost their jobs? That is a little more long-term kind of a situation. How will those guys find their jobs back again is a problem. The second thing that we did is we looked at the age composition of the job losses. And what we found is something very stark. 40 years of age seems to be a cutoff point. All age groups before 40, younger than 40 years, have systematically lost jobs in greater proportion compared to their share in total employment. So for example, youngsters who are between 20 and 24 years of age have a share of about 8.5% in total employment, but their share in job losses is 11%. So like this, all the way till age 40, the proportion of people losing jobs is higher than their share in employment, and beyond 40, it is lesser. Now, what does this mean? I just compare this to the first thing I said. Those street hawkers, the daily wage earners, they will get their jobs back as soon as the lockdown is lifted, although it's been very, very stressful to them. But what about those people who are young today, who have probably lost their salaried jobs and will find it difficult to get it back? The younger groups, the younger cohorts, as you call it, are the ones who save for tomorrow. The older people are the people who are drawing upon their savings. The younger people are building the savings for the future. Even in the demographic dividend curve, it is the younger people's savings that helps the economy sustain the growth beyond this. So the longer term damage we are seeing is the younger people losing their jobs. So I think this is a lot more stressful from the long-term growth perspective of it.
You know, when we see a figure, and you have weekly data, of course, coming out, when you see that unemployment has gone from 27% to 24%, what does that mean? Does that mean that some jobs have been retrieved in the middle of the lockdown as well? How would you interpret this?
Yes, there has been some improvement, because after the announcement of green, orange, and red zones, there have been some areas where employment has come back, particularly in rural India. Urban India is still doing very badly. So some harvest work, some more farm work has increased, and therefore the employment in those regions have improved. But mind you, 24% is really terribly bad. Our per capita income levels are so low that 24% should be dreadful. US has an unemployment rate of 14%. We are nearly twice that at 27, 24%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No one's mitigating the extent of damage. I just want to get a sense that, as we are going to move towards, say, phase 4 of lockdown, and there will be different rules. We have to wait and see what those kind of rules are, but more opening up. How much of this can be managed in terms of unemployment? Do you think that, the numbers could improve, more job generation can take place? Is it linked entirely just with the lockdown? Or will there be longer term impact, at least in some sectors, in terms of jobs?
There certainly will be a long-term impact. One cannot run away from that. So many of the jobs will come back, but those are the jobs of daily wage earners. Those are the jobs which are of relatively so-called poor quality jobs, low income jobs, low wage rate jobs. But the jobs of the better quality, which are provided by, let us say, the larger private sector enterprises, those are going to be a lot more difficult to get compared to what the situation was before the lockdown. And before the lockdown, the situation was bad enough anyway. We had lots of other problems that was holding back investments. And if investments don't happen by large companies, there cannot be large scale employment and good quality jobs. So I think the second part, which is good quality jobs based on good private sector investment, was anyway difficult. Now it gets pushed a lot further into the future.